Hey guys, this is Mel, and I'm back to talk about Supernatural, episode 1416, titled Don't Go in the Woods, which premiered Thursday, March 21st, 2019 on the CW. I'm recording March 24th at 1:20 a.m., so it's been a few days. It's been a rough few days for me. So huge spoiler alert. If you haven't seen the episode already, please go do so first, then come back and see what I have to say about the episode. Otherwise, my other video reminders are up on screen, so take a moment to remind yourselves of those. I'm going to try to do this in 15 minutes. So I'm going to start the clock, and let's begin with what happened in the episode. I do have news at the very end and a little bit of explanation as to why it's been a rough few days for me. It's both show-related and not show-related. So anyways, what happened? Timeline-wise, I actually don't really know what to say about how long it's been since the previous episode. I want to say maybe it's been a few days since the events of 1415. But yeah, it seems more like an adjustment period too, though. So I'll leave it at that. But also 1413 takes place February 7th, 2019. Dates like that within the show do help. So I'll leave it with that. Episode reminder, we are teed up to the fact that this is a new creature that the brothers have never heard of before. So I'll get into that in a moment, because with episode breakdowns, two storylines. You have the first one dealing with the case, the Whistler case as it's called, and the second one dealing with Jack trying to make friends in Lebanon. So with the first case, with the Whistler, as the creature's name is translated into, it turns out to be a Native American lore in Polk City. Apparently the first settlers that came to town had a harsh first winter, to the point where their youngest had killed his family and ate them. This resulted in his hunger growing, and to the point where it turned him crazy. Due to his crimes, the tribe in the city, the tribe that was originally there, cursed this cannibal for his crimes, which turned him into this creature that now had a hunger that would turn on himself if he didn't feed. Apparently, the only way to kill it is with a silver blade to the heart. The creation of this Whistler creature is very similar to, or I believe it's very similar to, the whole Wendigo lore that was introduced in episode 102 of the series, so way back in the beginning. So there's that. Second storyline deals with Jack being left behind in Lebanon. He's supposed to do a grocery run, but while doing so, he runs across Elliot, Stacy, and Max, who were introduced in the 300th episode, and he tries to make friends with them. He accidentally reveals that he's only 2 before changing it to be him being 22 with them. We also see some possible romance between Stacy and Max. They're definitely flirting with each other, but it's unsure if they're actually together or not, or if they're on their way to being. I don't know. But Elliot does make a jab at them at saying, if you're going to kiss, don't do it in front of me, type of thing. So there's that. But the last scene of the episode has Jack not telling Sam and Dean about what happened with his new friends in Lebanon, even though they told him the truth about why they left him behind in the bunker. So that's going to cause some problems later on. But tidbit-wise, though, we don't see Cass in this episode, which I will mention later on. But also we have Jack healing someone for the first time, and that is Stacy, after he accidentally stabs her with an angel blade due to his powers. Also, we do see we do see Jack showing emotion when Stacy was hurt, yet he didn't show any emotion when others were expressing fear for his actions. Now, I'm not sure if that is a soul-related thing, if that's more of an arrogance over him having control of his powers thing, or if that's more of him being only 2 and still trying to figure out human emotions and reading them, type of thing, or if that's just connected to an angel thing as well. So there's many different variables there. So I don't know what his lack of reaction was a contributing factor from, if that makes sense. So there's that. So end tally, death tally. We do see Barbara being the first on-screen death. It's the one that brought the case to the Sam and Dean's attention. Then we got Fitz, the hiker. I believe he was killed. I know he was missing, so I'm just assuming that maybe he was just killed by the creature itself. And then we have the creature being killed by Sheriff Mason with the assist from Sam and Dean when he drove the silver blade into his heart with a surprise attack. So there's that. So what's the most shocking moment of the episode? I think for me it has to be the fact that this Wendigo similarities with the Whistler thing. Only just because the promo kind of teed it up to the fact that this is a creature that the brothers have never heard of, never faced before, right? So I'm thinking like a full-on new creature. So when it showed, like, when it went in the back, this Whistler creature, and then the look of it was definitely very creepy to begin with, and like how he attacked his victims and such. Like, okay, this is teeing up to be a new creature. But when they went into the lore and the backstory of how this creature was made, it was shocking just how similar. I kept thinking back to the Wendigo case for it, because then that one was settlers ended up eating each other, and when the cannibal ended up eating enough of it, legend had it that he had all these different strengths, and strengths and stuff like that, right? So it was just a surprise that it ended up being so similar to something that we were first already introduced to. I mean, granted, that Wendigo case was the only Wendigo the boys have ever faced in all 14 seasons. So I guess is another way to put it, a different twist on it. Or if it just so happens that this is how a lot of different lores start in different cultures, or different tribes, or however we want to name it. So that was just a shocker for me there. I'm going to stop rambling before I make a fool of myself. But moving on to top 3 favorite moments, I really only had the 2, and they're one from each storyline, I guess you can say. The first one was Elliot wanting to be Jack's friend before everything blew up in Jack's face. It was just, I enjoyed Elliot's excitement in like him researching the supernatural and him wanting to know more information. And then when he finds out that Jack knows this information, he's like so excited to learn from him and like to know, like, is this real? Is this real? And Jack's like just feeding him all this different facts, not even realizing that this is not something you should just openly talk about with like a straight face. Or even he was laughing a few times where he was like, this is so, like, something like you'd laugh at when it's like this, it's so completely stupid, it works type of thing. But it was just like his genuine enthusiasm and then wanting to be Jack's friend because of it. It was so adorable. So it broke my heart even more when that instantly turned, after what Jack accidentally did, and then Elliot was like, just stay away. That was heartbreaking, because I would have wanted to see a friendship begin between Elliot and Jack. So there's that. And another favorite would have to be Sam and Dean arguing over their different views on parenting styles. So Sam's of the notion that that you should tell the truth, especially to kids when it comes to the supernatural, to better educate them to better be aware of them. But then Dean's like, no, to lie to the child to protect their innocence, to protect their view of normalcy. And they were arguing all that in regards to the sheriff's son and how better to, like, do they tell him that his girlfriend was killed by a creature, or they continue letting him believe that his girlfriend was killed by a coyote. And then they were arguing about that, which translated to them arguing over how they should handle Jack, whether they should have just lied to him as to why they kept him in the bunker and not let them know why they wanted to keep him behind, because of the fact that he has his powers back and they're not sure if he has a handle on them again, and then, or just to keep him in the dark like they did originally. But in the end, they did choose to tell Jack the truth as to why they left him behind. So they kind of started with Dean's way, and then they ended off with Sam's way. So I just really like, an argument should not be a favorite, but I like the topic they were discussing and how we got to see the two different views, and we got to see both of them state why they thought their view was best. And it was just interesting because it went from them talking about how to handle the sheriff's kid to them talking about how to handle Jack. And it was just very, very cool transition to it. It's just very interesting to see how they handled it in the end, because it's still new territory for them, right? So there's that. Now, top 3 peeved moments. Again, the peeve is attached to the shocking moment. It's the fact that the creature was being claimed to be a new one, when it was, to me, it just seemed like a different version of the Wendigo. Instead of a fire to the heart, you have a silver blade to the heart instead. It still was created by, well, I guess you could say that its origin was based around cannibalism, but one seemed to have a natural evolution into the creature, while another one was cursed because of his actions as a cannibal, which had him evolve into this creature. But it was just a peeve that I saw the similarity when I was led to believe it'd be something completely different. So that's something there. It's pretty minor. Another thing I didn't like was the fact that Jack didn't tell the Winchesters the truth about what happened with Stacy. I thought, like, after Sam and Dean told him the truth about why he was left behind, that maybe Jack would do the same thing. But then I can understand why he wouldn't do that, because he doesn't want to disappoint them and prove to them that they were right to leave him behind, because he ended up hurting somebody with his powers. But then I also don't know if the reason he didn't tell them is a soul thing, if it's connected to his lack of a whole soul. So, like, that's a piece there, because I can't tell, like, what was his motive behind not telling them. Was it because he didn't want to disappoint them? Was it because, like, he felt like he didn't need to tell them because that's connected to the soul issue, or if it's just because of another thing I don't know about. So that was something there. But moving on to what moment will I remember most when I look back on this episode? Probably the fact that Jack was trying to make new friends. And it was just interesting to see those three teenagers again, and see how you got different viewpoints of the supernatural. You had Elliot being very excited about the whole thing, you got Max mocking the whole thing, and then Stacy being a little hesitant about it. So I'm wondering, after what happened with Jack, if we're going to see the three of them again or not. So there's that. So moving on to random questions very quickly. I guess the first one's kind of attached to the peeve I had about Jack. And the question is, did Jack not tell the Winchesters about what happened with Stacy because he didn't want to disappoint them? Or was it because he felt like he didn't need to tell them? Which would be a little worrying if it's connected to his lack of a whole soul. So I did mention that more briefly just moments ago. So that's an actual question there. Another question is, after witnessing what he did at the end of the previous episode, why wouldn't Castiel try to keep a closer eye on Jack? Cass wasn't present in this episode, which was kind of a shock for me as well, especially when he saw at the end of the previous episode Jack killing the snake just to reunite it with its friend. I thought, if anything, Cass would want to keep a closer eye on Jack and try to observe whether or not he needs to be worried or such. But so I'm wondering why he wasn't, or if he was, and that's the time between episodes that took place. But there's that. Another random one would be, are Elliot and Stacy siblings? I mean, from the way how, like, how Stacy would bring up some childhood memories of, like, Elliot, and then, like, his concern overheard when she got hurt and him being overprotective of her and standing between Jack, it definitely made me think sibling vibes, and especially when he didn't want to see them kissing. When Elliot didn't want to see Stacy kissing Max, because that's also a sibling thing too. So I'm wondering if that is the case for them or not, since obviously Max is the new kid in town. So there's that there. But moving on to predictions very quickly for the 14-17, it doesn't return until April 4th, 2019. So I think that's just a 1 week break that we get. But the promo shows Castiel looking for Sister Joe and wanting her help to contact God. And he's doing it behind the Winchesters' backs. We also see Nick returning as well. A bunch of other stuff happens, but those were the key things I picked up the first time I watched the promo. Now, with the synopsis, though, it reads that Sam and Dean race to help a friend in need. Meanwhile, Mary is concerned for Jack's well-being, and Castiel enlists help from Sister Joe / Anil to track down a miracle. Now, I don't know if Castiel wants to contact God because of what's happening with Jack, or if it's because maybe what his own situation is with his deal with the MT. So I guess we'll have to wait and see about that. But on to more pressing news. Part of the reason why it's been a bad 72 hours for me is the fact that on Friday, March 22nd, Jensen, Jared, and Misha all announced on social media that season 15 will be the final season for the show. And then I went to research a little bit more, and articles have stated that it will be a 20 episode season. So we're not getting a complete cut down, but there's that. But when I saw the news, it was so heartbreaking. The first one I saw is on Instagram when Jared posted a season 1 photo of him and Jensen. And I thought, oh, why? And then I read the caption, and he was saying his goodbye to the show. And it's like, oh, crap. It's like this show has been live for half my life. And I always said as long as it makes it to season 15, as long as it makes it to season 15, I will be thrilled. I'll be overjoyed, especially once they hit like the 200 milestone mark, the 10 seasons, 12 seasons, 14 seasons, 300 mark and stuff. I always kept saying, as long as it's to 15, then I can easily say it's been going on for half my life. But then to actually find out that it is the final season, it's like, I don't know. I don't know if I would have liked it if I knew before the season started and then I have 20 episodes to prepare for the fact that this is the final one, or if I would have wanted to find out after it had ended and then finding out it's been canceled. I don't know. I guess I would have preferred knowing beforehand. I think I would have preferred knowing after season 14 has ended and like right before season 15 starts, then find out, okay, this is the final season. I think it would have been a little better that way. But regardless, it's like, it was heartbreaking for sure to find out the news, because I was also dealing with personal news since Thursday. So it was just, it was definitely a very bad day to find out that my favorite show of all time was going to end within the year. So yeah, that's kind of why you're getting this reaction recorded a few days later than usual. The timer's gone off already. I just didn't put the volume on. So that's the reason there, guys. Hope you can forgive me about that. But otherwise, that is pretty much it I have to talk about. I'll definitely do videos for season 15 individually because, like, it's the final go. I got to do it. But what do you guys think of the episode? What do you guys like about it? What do you think is going to happen next? Let me know in the comments down below. Love to hear your own thoughts, theories, and predictions about what you think will happen next. Also, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to my channel, check out my other videos if you haven't done so already. If you want, check out my Tumblr page. The link for that is down below. I read blog promos, web clips, quotes, gifs, synopses, news, all the good stuff, all found in one place. So go check that out. Good news, because of my personal bad news, I now have more time to work on this stuff. So there's that. But also, live journal entry, link for that is down below. I post jot noted summaries of the episode as I watch them for the first time is when I'm creating them. You got in-moment thoughts, in-moment questions. It keeps things in order for me, quotes, all that stuff. So if it helps you out and everything, go check that out. I guess I'm going to be doing it to the very end of the show now. But yeah, and did I mention WordPress? If not, here it is. A link for that will be down below as well. Anything I post online is connected to WordPress account. So it's a little more neater, organized, more detailed, but it's a work in progress. So again, keep that in mind. Sorry if my brain's a little scattered. Again, it's like very early in the morning right now for me. And it's been a long, rough few days as well. So otherwise, guys, I hope you come back to see what I have to say about the next episode. Thank you so much for tuning in. But until then, guys, I guess I'll see you in 2 weeks because of 17th not airing until the 4th. But until then, guys, this is Mel. Wish you all a great day, great week wherever you are. And bye.